and welcome back. If you are new to the channel, please make me a favor, like the video and subscribe. It helps me grow the channel and to talk about new interesting topics. So today we'll speak about the reason on why we can't get cheap energy and why the um, energy is getting more and more expensive. This is due to a, let's say, perfect storm of aging infrastructure, skyrocketing demand from technology, and ongoing global conflicts. And while specific technology and reasons vary by region, then several global trends are driving prices upward in 2026. So this is a very interesting article I found from Forbes asking why what are the three reasons our electricity is becoming more expensive. And the author does a very good job here. It's based generally in the US, but I think in Europe it's pretty much the same. So the reasoning behind that, first, the demand is growing, but it is not uniform, they say. So starting with electricity demand, the US is moving from historical electricity load growth of roughly 2% per year to forecast as high as 10 to 17% annually in some regions. Um, and then if we go forward in the article and we just cover it fast, it's the aging infrastructure and deferred investment here. That would require definitely massive infrastructure upgrades. So much of the world's power grid was built maybe decades ago and is now reaching the end of its intended lifespan. Then the replacement costs. Utilities are spending trillions to replace old poles, wires, transformers, the infrastructure overall. Um, the climate resilience, because systems must be hardened or maybe buried underground to prevent damage from climate, from increasingly frequent floods, hurricanes, wildfires, and so on. And then the green transition, which is connecting new wind and solar farms to the grid, requires expensive new transmission lines and storage battery. Then, if we go into the other reason mentioned in the article, it's permitting delays the third time into costs. Here, they say transmission lines, pipelines, and electricity generation projects routinely face permit timeliness that stretch beyond a decade, even though when projects are largely confined within a single state. So this is also the case in the EU, and it's basically we can just name it bureaucracy. Yeah, right. And then the third is the competition for scarce resources. Because the power sector is also running into a broader economic constraint, they say, and everyone trying to build at the same time. And this is also interesting with the AI and tech boom. So now we have a need for energy that is probably unprecedented in human history. And for the first time, I think electricity demand is rising faster than supply can keep pace. We are talking about data centers, the explosion of AI and big tech, which has led to a surge in massive data centers, which obviously consume enormous amounts of power. And electrification, as some more people switch to electric vehicles and not internal combustion ones. The overall load on the grid increases, of course. And then obviously you have the geopolitical crisis, which are not mentioned in this article, but global events, I think, directly impact the wholesale cost of the fuel used to generate electricity. And of course, first thing that comes to mind is the Middle East tension. So while Trump has already won the war two and three times, it seems Iran didn't get the memo, so they didn't change their regime or open the Hormuz Strait. So there are still tensions in the Middle East, and the recent conflict is involving major oil and gas producers, not only Iran but also Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and a few others. And this has caused the oil price to spike to above 100 USD per barrel. So we've discussed about this recently. Then another cause is basically the um, supply disruption, right? So damage to critical energy infrastructure during the war, or maybe even if we consider the Russia-Ukraine war. So the long-term shift away from Russian gas, which was pretty cheap compared to alternatives, at least for EU, this continues to keep global natural gas prices elevated and volatile. Then, if we discuss about the economic factors, so a larger part, um, we have, of course, inflation. So the cost of labor, the raw material, like I don't know, copper, steel, whatever else is needed, that is needed to build and maintain the power plants has risen sharply. And then there's also the carbon pricing, especially in the EU, where companies must pay higher and higher fees for carbon emissions, which is a cost that is often passed down to consumers. And if we go, let's say, to the individual bill, so how can you maybe spend less on electricity? There are some quick wins you can take into account, trying to use this as much as possible. First is to kill what I call the vampire loads. So if you have electronics like chargers, coffee makers, printers, just keep them unplugged while not in use. Because even on standby, these devices can account for a significant portion of the always on power. So while they're plugged, they still continue to consume. Then obviously the water heating accounts for probably up to 30% of home energy use, depending on the type of heating you use. So maybe just working towards a more cheaper system can save, or maybe solar panels if you have the possibility. And of course, just keeping the thermostat lowered by just 1% in the cold season can noticeably reduce heating bills. So this is something that most people don't know, but the difference to raise the world by only 1% Celsius can add up. Then obviously some smart technology upgrades you can do. One is the transition to LED to replace the old bulbs with LED to reduce the energy use. Then to have maybe a smart thermostat that also helps and save some costs. And also for longer time investments for those looking to future proof their costs. It also would be interesting to check about installing solar panels or home batteries. This is becoming more and more a standard way to bypass the rising grid rates. And in some regions, like for example Romania, there are some significant government grants for green investments. And then you can also try to focus on the off-peak usage. If your utility uses the time of use rates, just try to shift the heavy appliance use, like laundry, dishwasher, and stuff, to maybe late night or early morning, if possible, when electricity is cheaper. For business, obviously, it's a bit harder, but there are some adjustments that can be done there to decrease the electricity costs. So In conclusion, as we end the video, while we build more and more, let's say, means of supply, the sad truth is the demand is growing at a higher pace. So we just can't keep up with it. And uh, it is likely that energy will still be going up in price in the next months. So and years. So what we can do is just to do some savings where we can. Hopefully you like the video today, and again, please do me a favor and like the video, subscribe, and also if you have topics about what to cover next, let me know. Thank you guys.